If you're a fan of old Hollywood, you know it was filled with actresses who combined remarkable talent with striking beauty. Today we'll revisit these leading ladies, celebrating both their on-screen achievements and the timeless allure they brought to cinema. Icons like Claudia Cardonali, Sophia Lauren, and Anita Ekberg captivated audiences not only with award-worthy performances, but also with their unforgettable, voluptuous silhouettes. Join us as we explore rare photos, career milestones, and the roles that made them legends. This is one trip down memory lane you won't want to miss. Janet Gaynor, 31.5 inches, born Laura Augusta Gaynor. The tiny-framed Janet Gaynor grew up chasing California sunshine long before she chased stardom. At 17, she was earning $18 a week in a Los Angeles shoe store, but the nearby film studios called to her louder than any sales bell. Janet hustled for unbilled walk-ons, learning the rhythm of silent-era comedy shorts and absorbing everything she could about camera angles and lighting. That persistence paid off in 1927, when Seventh Heaven and Street Angel hit cinemas back-to-back. The Academy had created a brand-new statuette that year, and Gaynor took home its very first Best Actress award, honoring both performances in a single swoop, a feat never repeated. When sound swept Hollywood, many silent icons stumbled, yet Gaynor glided forward. Critics credited her lilting voice and naturalistic style. By the mid-1930s, she was the top-grossing female star in U.S. theaters, managing to elevate otherwise forgettable films with sincerity and charm. Off-screen, her 31.5-inch bust lent her a waif-like elegance that costume designers adored. She could disappear into a character simply by changing the drape of a gown. Though she retired young, Janet Gaynor's soft-spoken strength helped define the possibilities of screen acting, and proved that petite frames could cast very large shadows. Vivian Lee, 32 inches Lady Olivier, better known as Vivian Lee, captivated audiences with a presence that belied her delicate 32-inch figure. Born in British-ruled India and educated in London, she stormed West End stages before Hollywood knew her name. Destiny arrived when producer David O. Selznick sought a Scarlett O'Hara who could handle the weight of the American Civil War on her shoulders. Lee's screen test left every rival in ashes. Gone with the Wind earned her a first Oscar and ensured that the tiny dynamo would be forever linked with fiery resilience. A decade later, she collected a second Academy Award for A Streetcar Named Desire, proving she could excavate Blanche Dubois's fragile psyche as deftly as she had wielded scarlet steel. Yet Lee's life was a study in contrast. Bouts of tuberculosis and bipolar disorder collided with glittering premieres and transatlantic tours beside husband Laurence Olivier. She considered the stage her true home, sinking into Shakespeare, Shaw, and Coward with equal zeal. Even when Hollywood praised her beauty, she insisted her looks were a double-edged sword, masking a craftsman's discipline underneath. Vivian Lee's 32-inch frame may have been slight, but her command of emotion remains towering, an eternal reminder that power often arrives in the most elegant packages. Natalie Wood, 32 inches. Natalie Wood's 32-inch bust matched her pixie-sized, razor-sharp professionalism, traits she honed from age 5 under Studio Klieg lights. Born Natasha Zakharenko to Russian-Ukrainian immigrants, she charmed post-war America as little Susan Walker in Miracle on 34th Street, securing a place in every Christmas marathon. As contracts shifted, 20th Century Fox set her up as Hollywood's favorite daughter, and she spent adolescence sharing screen space with James Stewart, Bette Davis, and other royalty. The miracle? She never faded into a forgotten child star. Instead, Natalie leapt into adult roles with Rebel Without a Cause, landing an Oscar nomination at 17. West Side Story and Splendor in the Grass cemented her as a symbol of youthful yearning and heartbreak. Though tabloids tracked her romances and famous fear of dark water, colleagues whisper about her dedication. Hitting marks to the inch, mining directors' notes until scenes shimmered. She passed too soon, her mysterious 1981 drowning fuels speculation to this day. But Wood's balanced mix of innocence and tenacity ensures that each December, when we hear, "I believe, I believe," we remember the petite starlet whose talent outpaced her 32-inch frame by light years. Clara Bose, 32 inches, with a 32-inch bust and a million candle-power smile, Brooklyn's own Clara Bose became the Roaring Twenties incarnate. Poverty, an abusive father, and a mentally ill mother forged her survival instincts early. Winning a magazine beauty contest at 16 gave her the only ticket out. Producers quickly realized that Bose's expressive eyes could sell exhilaration better than any title card. The original It Girl radiated playful sexuality, yet slapped a suitor who overstepped, showing flappers how to set boundaries. In the smash hit It, 1927, she snipped her dress to reveal just enough clavicle to scandalize guardians and thrill theater-goers. Fan mail hit 45,000 letters a month, and studios worked her to exhaustion. The arrival of sound exposed other silent idols, but Clara's thick Brooklyn accent and natural verve translated fine. What didn't translate was Hollywood's moral double standard. Gossip columns savored every rumor, and by 1933, the overworked star retreated to a Nevada ranch. Still, Bose's 32-inch figure in a beaded shift remains a shorthand for liberated 1920s femininity. Witty, energetic, untamed. Her life reminds us that box office stats fade, but cultural electricity, it, can light screens for a century. Judy Garland, 33 inches. Judy Garland's 33-inch chest may have looked modest, but the voice behind it filled concert halls and hearts worldwide. Born Frances Gumm, she joined her sisters on the vaudeville circuit before MGM saw potential in the tiny belter with Technicolor emotion. Studio doctors doled out pep pills to keep her energy high and barbiturates to force sleep, locking the teenager into a cycle that would shadow her life. Yet pain translated into artistry. When Dorothy sings Over the Rainbow, audiences still feel longing so pure it earns goosebumps. MGM crafted musicals, Meet Me in St. Louis, Easter Parade, Summer Stock, where her 33-inch frame twirled through elaborate numbers, disguising backstage turmoil. Post-studio, she roared back with A Star is Born, earning an Oscar nod and delivering the torch song, The Man That Got Away, as only Garland could. Eyes gleaming, shoulders trembling, diaphragm steady as granite. Her 1961 Carnegie Hall concert set a new bar for live albums, and though personal demons persisted, fans saw resilience in every encore. Garland ranks number 22 on Premiere's Greatest Movie Stars list and number 8 on AFI's Screen Legends, proof that charisma and vulnerability weigh far more than inches. Constance Bennett, 33 inches independent, witty, and armed with a 33-inch silhouette that exuded Park Avenue polish, Constance Bennett blazed trails before her younger sisters Joan and Barbara ever faced a camera. After silent stints in New York productions, a chance meeting with producer Sam Goldwyn whisked her to Hollywood. But Bennett paused everything to marry a millionaire, then returned with renewed hunger. Talkies loved her smoky voice. Common Clay typecast her as the fallen woman who wouldn't apologize, but comedies like Topper revealed razor timing. Vogue chronicled her fashion sense, and social columns reveled in her courtroom sparring. Connie sued when misquoted and won. Off-screen, she launched cosmetics lines and women's wear, proving a savvy business brain behind that elegant 33-inch form. World War II found her touring Europe with husband Colonel Theron John Coulter, coordinating entertainment for troops during the Berlin airlift, earning military honors few actors can claim. Bennett's sudden heart attack at 60 shocked fans who swore she looked 30. Time may have taken the body, but it never dimmed the image. A glittering blonde who navigated Hollywood contracts with the same savvy she applied to waistlines and necklines. Jane Powell. 33 inches, Jane Powell's 33-inch bust and megawatt soprano voice arrived together, turning Portland, Oregon's teen singer into MGM's girl-next-door ace during the studio's golden age of musicals. After radio stints and theater tours, she debuted on screen opposite W.C. Fields in Song of the Open Road, then rocketed to box office heaven with Royal Wedding and Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, where her petite frame anchored barn dance athleticism that still amazes TikTok dance geeks. As she aged beyond ingenue roles, Hollywood struggled to place her, but Jane reinvented herself on stage, touring with South Pacific, My Fair Lady, and a one-woman autobiographical show cheekily titled The Girl Next Door, and How She Grew. Television embraced her genuine warmth. Guest spots, commercials, even a workout video in the 80s kept her in living rooms. Beneath the wholesome exterior lay discipline. She famously practiced scales during lunch breaks, protecting a voice that never cracked under pressure. Her star on Hollywood Boulevard, 6818, reminds passers-by that nice girls also carve deep legacies. Sometimes all it takes is a sweet smile, a 33-inch costume bodice, and perfect pitch. Veronica Lake, 34 inches, a 34-inch bust, cascading peekaboo bangs, and a 5'1" frame. Veronica Lake packed unforgettable style into a compact package. Born Constance Ockelman, she rebranded under Paramount's direction and found instant chemistry opposite Alan Ladd in noir hits like This Gun for Hire. Wartime pinups copied her hair until factory accidents spurred a safety campaign. Lake gamely clipped her trademark wave on newsreels, proving influence that reached beyond marquees. She jumped early into live television, refusing to fear a small box medium, then pursued stage work when Hollywood cooled. Veronica's autobiography recounts choosing gigs for excitement rather than PR approval. That independence sometimes cost her roles, but preserved her sanity. She battled alcoholism and financial woes, eventually bartending in Manhattan under her Hollywood name. Customers almost thought it was a novelty act, until they looked into those famous eyes. Lake died at 50, yet the peekaboo silhouette remains pop culture shorthand for femme fatale allure. Proof that one hairstyle, a 34-inch figure, and undeniable magnetism can outlive an entire studio era. Lana Turner, 34 inches legend, insists Lana Turner's 34-inch curves were discovered at Schwab's Pharmacy, sipping a soda. In truth, the teen-skipping typing class already dreamed of cinema, but that soda counter launched MGM's latest goddess. Turner's early films nicknamed her the Sweater Girl, a label that both sold tickets and haunted her when she craved serious roles. Still, audiences flocked to see the working-class good girl tempted by noir darkness. The Postman Always Rings Twice remains a masterclass in slow-burn chemistry. Off-camera, life-mirrored melodrama. 7 Marriages, a headline-grabbing scandal when daughter Cheryl stabbed Lana's violent boyfriend, Johnny Stompanato, in self-defense. Through it all, Turner showed professional consistency. She hit her marks even on days tabloids screamed her name. In the 80s, she joined the primetime soap Falcon Crest, introducing her 34-inch glamour to a new generation. Lana Turner reminds us Hollywood's golden sirens weren't porcelain dolls. They were survivors wearing satin armor. Proving resilience is sometimes the sexiest quality of all. Faye Dunaway. 34 inches, with an icy 34-inch elegance, Faye Dunaway stormed the new Hollywood era, making complexity look chic. A Florida sharecropper's daughter turned Boston University drama grad, she erupted on screen as Bonnie Parker in Bonnie and Clyde, blending danger and vulnerability behind beret and revolver. Oscars, Globes, and BAFTAs trailed her for performances in Network, Chinatown, and 3 Days of the Condor. Critics gushed about cheekbones so sharp they could slice celluloid. Yet Dunaway anchored that beauty with relentless homework, annotated scripts, dialect drills, and battlefield intensity, famous for challenging co-stars. Memoir, Looking for Gatsby, reveals insecurities beneath the confidence, stage fright, fear of being pigeonholed, hunger for authenticity. After periods of quiet, she resurfaced presenting the infamous 2017 Oscar envelope snafu, a viral moment that proved Hollywood history follows her everywhere. In her 70s, she fronted a Gucci campaign, 34-inch frame swathed in designer power suits, reminding millennials who originated cinematic cool. Dunaway's legacy proves that commanding presence isn't about size. It's about focus so fierce it bends every spotlight in the room. Ingred Bergman. 34 inches Ingrid Bergman's 34-inch bust framed old-world elegance that won 3 Oscars and countless hearts. Orphaned young in Stockholm, she chased stage work until director Gustav Melander cast her in Intermezzo, later remade in English to introduce her to America. Hollywood couldn't believe a star so luminous also insisted on no plucked eyebrows or heavy makeup. Bergman's naturalism was revolutionary. Casablanca immortalized her as Ilsa, but she craved artistic risk. Gaslight earned an Oscar. The Bells of St. Mary's another nomination. A scandalous romance with Italian director Roberto Rossellini exiled her from U.S. screens. Yet she returned triumphant with Anastasia, snatching her 2nd Academy Award. Bergman swung effortlessly between European art films and Hollywood epics, topping it off with a 3rd Oscar for Murder on the Orient Express. Her final role, Israeli Prime Minister Golda Meir, netted an Emmy and capped a career that proved versatility outshines controversy. Ingrid's 34-inch figure, once considered too tall and sturdy for ingenue parts, became a template for modern leading ladies. Fierce, genuine, unafraid to chase the truth, even if it knocks down studio doors. Sid Charisse, 34.5 inches, standing 5 feet 6 inches with a dancer's 34.5-inch torso. Sid Charisse slipped into America's collective dreamscape the moment she stepped through neon fog in Singin' in the Rain. Trained by the ballets Russes, she brought classical precision to MGM musicals, partnering Fred Astaire in The Bandwagon, where her long legs seemed to rewrite geometry. After the musical genre faded, Sid pivoted to television variety shows and Las Vegas reviews, often alongside crooner husband Tony Martin. They were Hollywood's picture of marital longevity. She also launched a successful line of dance exercise videos in the 80s, proving glamour doesn't expire. Awarded the National Medal of Arts in 2006, she quipped that her best special effect was torso, courtesy of God. Indeed, the 34.5-inch silhouette became shorthand for elegant athleticism, proving that some golden-era stars tap-danced straight into immortality. And Margaret, 35 inches, with a 35-inch hourglass and a voice equal parts honey and gravel. Swedish-born Anne Margaret Olsen set 1960s pop culture on fire. Discovered by comedy legend George Burns, she landed a record deal and film contract in the same week. Bye Bye Birdie turned her into every teen's Technicolor crush. Elvis Presley collaboration Viva Las Vegas added rock and roll swagger. Longing for darker material, she stunned critics with Carnal Knowledge, earning an Oscar nod and shaking off the Sex Kitten label. A near-fatal 1972 stage fall shattered her jaw, yet she returned within months, disguising wiring and swelling beneath sequins. She grabbed another Oscar nomination for Tommy, then kept barreling through decades of dramas, comedies, and Hallmark movies. Margaret placed number 10 on Empire's Sexiest Stars list, but insiders talk about her kindness, sending thank-you notes to crew, practicing choreography after rap. Even in her 80s, she pops up in commercials, her 35-inch figure now grandmotherly, yet still unmistakably Margaret. Proof that inner spark outlasts youth. Hedi Lamar, 35.5 inches, dubbed the most beautiful woman in the world. Hedi Lamar's 35.5-inch bust was only the prologue. Born Hedwig Kiesler in Vienna, she scandalized Europe with the film Ecstasy, then fled an oppressive marriage to arms dealer Fritz Mandl by disguising herself as a maid and boarding a train. MGM's Louis B. Mayer signed her, but sanitized her image. Audiences swooned over Algiers, Samson, and Delilah, and that luminous profile, yet offset Lamar, tinkered with circuits. Partnering with composer George Antheil, she patented frequency-hopping technology to thwart World War II torpedoes, blueprints that underpin modern Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Hollywood dismissed her invention until decades later. In 1997, she received the Electronic Frontier Foundation's Pioneer Award. By then, finances were thin, but Hedi's legacy soared beyond pin-up posters. Her life teaches that intellect and allure aren't mutually exclusive. Sometimes they share the same 35.5-inch frame, sending signals the world finally hears. Myrna Loy, 35.5 inches. Myrna Loy's 35.5-inch elegance evolved from exotic silent-era vamp to America's favorite sophisticated wife. Born Myrna Williams, she danced in local Los Angeles theaters to support her family, catching director Henry King's eye. Early talkies cast her as femme fatales, Chinese princesses, Eurasian spies, until The Thin Man, 1934, let audiences meet the real Loy. Witty, confident, sipping martinis with William Powell as Nick and Nora Charles. 6 Thin Man sequels solidified her charm, while dramas like The Best Years of Our Lives revealed gravity beneath that sparkling surface. Politically active, she campaigned against Nazi ideology, chaired the National Committee for the Equal Employment of Actors, and marched for civil rights. Hollywood repaid her conviction with an honorary Oscar in 1991, acknowledging a career that balanced box office gold and social conscience. Loy's 35.5-inch silhouette never screamed for attention. Instead, it delivered subtle body language, the raised eyebrow, the shoulder nudge, that made married banter look like the height of romance. Rita Hayworth, 36 inches. "Every man I know has fallen in love with Gilda," Rita Hayworth quipped, "and they wake up with me." Her 36-inch torso, poured into that satin black dress and mid-song hair flip, became cinematic shorthand for danger and desire. Born Margarita Cancino to Spanish-Irish dancers, she joined the family act at 8, then caught studio scouts with her sinuous Latin moves. To widen appeal, Columbia boss Harry Cohn lifted her hairline and dyed it auburn. Hayworth was reborn. CoverGirl, Pal Joey, and Gilda crowned her a World War II pinup queen, yet fame exacted tolls. Controlling studio contracts, failed marriages to Orson Welles and Prince Ali Khan, and relentless typecasting. Rita battled alcoholism and early-onset Alzheimer's. Her final cameo in 1972's Wrath of God, a bittersweet farewell. Still, posters of that confident 36-inch hourglass adorn dorm rooms and dive bars alike, proof that magnetism rarely obeys the calendar. Ava Gardner, 36 inches, North Carolina sharecropper's daughter Ava Gardner owned a 36-inch hourglass that photographers described as liquid. Spotted in a New York storefront photo, MGM rushed her west, despite zero acting experience. Early roles were decorative, until noir masterpiece The Killers unleashed her smoky voice and lethal charisma. Romances with Mickey Rooney, Artie Shaw, and Frank Sinatra fed tabloids, but Gardner remained refreshingly blunt. She smoked, swore, and negotiated pay raises without batting an eyelash. Films like Mogambo, Oscar-nominated, On the Beach, and Night of the Iguana showcased depth beneath the beauty. Later tax woes nudged her to London, where she enjoyed relative anonymity, adopting corgis and mentoring young actors. Asked near the end what she'd change, Ava shrugged. "I did the best I could with what I had." That 36-inch figure, and the fierce soul inside, still inspire debates over who was Hollywood's most beautiful. Many cast their vote for Gardner, the barefoot goddess who never pretended to be anything but herself. Brigitte Bardot, 36 inches with 36-inch curves and pouty lips, Brigitte Bardot burst from French cinema into global zeitgeist. Modeling led to a small role in Act of Love with Kirk Douglas, but Roger Vadim's and God-Created Woman incinerated box office records, crowning her a sex kitten archetype. American newspapers tracked Bardot's Riviera sunbathing as closely as Sputnik, and her hair, teased into tousled Bardot buns, sparked salon mania. Yet fame felt suffocating. At 39, she quit acting to champion animal rights, founding the Brigitte Bardot Foundation. Though critics once dismissed her acting, retrospectives reveal nuanced performances in Le Mépris and Viva Maria. Men's Health listed her among the 100 hottest women of all time. But Bardot uses that magnetism to lobby French lawmakers today, proving 36 inches plus fierce conviction can move more than ticket lines. It can shift public policy. Claudia Cardonali, 37 inches. Claudia Cardonali's 37-inch Mediterranean allure first turned heads when she won the Most Beautiful Italian Girl in Tunisia contest, a prize that spiraled into acting offers she initially resisted. Studios persisted. Soon, The Leopard and Fellini's 8.5 made her poster royalty. While producers trumpeted her figure, Cardonali insisted on dubbing her own lines, fighting for authentic expression. She mastered both spaghetti westerns, Once Upon a Time in the West, and Herzog's epic Fitzcarraldo, bridging European art house and mainstream spectacle. Fluent in 4 languages, she later traveled as a UNESCO Goodwill Ambassador for women's rights, proving sophistication extends past measurements. Now in her 80s, she rarely appears publicly. Yet cinephiles still thrill when that 37-inch silhouette strides across a desert frame, shawl billowing, eyes set on destiny. Kim Novak, 37 inches. Kim Novak's 37-inch bust and ice-blonde aura drew Alfred Hitchcock to cast her opposite James Stewart in Vertigo, creating cinema's most haunting meditation on obsession. Born Marilyn Pauline Novak in Chicago, she signed with Columbia after modeling refrigerator ads. Picnic earned her a Golden Globe nomination and cemented her as a nuanced interpreter of repression beneath small-town facades. While studios shoved her into sex symbol roles, Novak quietly painted watercolors and raised Arabian horses, preferring Oregon ranch life to Hollywood soirees. A 1960s backlash against glamorous blondes nudged her toward semi-retirement, but modern critics reassess her subtle vulnerability, elevating Vertigo to Sight and Sound's #1 film of all time. At 90, Kim remains outspoken about artistic integrity, reminding young actors that a 37-inch frame means little without a spine of steel. Raquel Welch, 37 inches. Raquel Welch's 37-inch silhouette, clad in prehistoric doe skin, sold more posters than some films sold tickets. 1 million years BC gave history lessons zero accuracy, but immortalized Welch as Stone Age goddess. Before that, the Chicago-born beauty studied theater at San Diego State and weather reported on TV. Despite being labeled a bikini babe, she demanded roles that allowed intelligence, thrillers like Hanny Calder and comedic turns in Bedazzled. She sued MGM after being fired from Cannery Row, winning a hefty settlement but bearing the difficult tag that chilled offers. Reinvention followed: fitness videos, a wig line, and Broadway stint in Victor Victoria. Her passing in 2023 sparked global nostalgia. Millions recalled the first time they saw that 37-inch hourglass and realized cinema could make fantasy flesh. Carol Landis, 37 inches, nicknamed the Chest. Carol Landis wielded her 37-inch assets like marketing gold, yet longed to prove depth beyond curves. Wisconsin farm girl roots took her to San Francisco chorus lines, then Hal Roach comedies, culminating in prehistoric adventure 1 million BC. The same plot later catapulted Raquel Welch. During World War II, she toured with the USO, chronicling experiences in 4 Jills in a Jeep, rare for an actress then. Despite professional highs, heartbreak shadowed her. An affair with Rex Harrison ended in rejection, leading to her 1948 suicide at 29. Landis's story underscores Hollywood's double bind: adore the body, ignore the soul. Today, historians revisit her films, recognizing comedic timing and singing chops that might have blossomed had the industry embraced more than statistics on a costume sheet. Olivia de Havilland, 37 inches. Olivia de Havilland's refined 37-inch figure hid a warrior spirit that reshaped contract law. After debuting in A Midsummer Night's Dream, Warner Brothers paired her with Errol Flynn in Swashbucklers, from Captain Blood to The Adventures of Robin Hood. Tired of ingenue parts, she fought the studio's suspension tactics, taking her grievance to California's Supreme Court. The 1944 de Havilland decision freed actors after 7 years, regardless of suspension periods, a landmark that benefits performers to this day. Olivia promptly won Oscars for To Each His Own and The Heiress, displaying dramatic gravitas studios had doubted. She lived to 104, receiving birthday tributes from both sides of the Atlantic, proof that brains, legal acumen, and a 37-inch bust can indeed change an industry. Sophia Lauren, 38 inches, from the war-torn Naples suburb of Pozzuoli to global superstardom, Sophia Loren's 38-inch bust became the sculptor's ideal brought to life. But her drive transcended curves. Discovered at 14 by producer Carlo Ponti, later her husband, she transformed from extra to lead in Two Women, winning the first acting Oscar for a foreign-language performance. Lauren balanced sultry comedies, Marriage Italian Style, with sweeping dramas, trading barbs with Marcello Mastroianni, and sharing screens with Gable, Brando, Peck. Off-screen, she battled Hollywood's demand to alter her nose, insisting authenticity mattered more than symmetry. Honored with an honorary Academy Award and lifetime achievements galore, she continues to cameo, as in 2020's The Life Ahead, directed by her son Eduardo Ponti. Sophia's story proves glamour needn't bow to conformity. Sometimes it builds its own throne. 38 inches wide, crowned with resilience. Esther Williams. 38 inches wet was Esther's medium, quipped MGM. With a 38-inch athletic frame, Esther Williams turned swimming into high Hollywood spectacle. National champ by 16, she missed the cancelled 1940 Olympics, but splash landed in Bathing Beauty, inaugurating waterproof musicals where synchronized divers circled her like Art Deco fountains. By the 1950s, musicals ebbed. Williams pivoted to drama, the unguarded moment, though critics felt studios still saw her as pool decor. She retired but parlayed experience into a swimsuit empire and backyard pool designs. Inducted into the International Swimming Hall of Fame, she later narrated That's Entertainment 3, reflecting with pride. Nobody drowned. We all had fun. Esther's 38-inch shoulders reminded post-war America that athleticism could be as glamorous as any ballroom waltz. Elvira, Cassandra Peterson, 38 inches, Elvira's 38-inch Gothic corset turned late-night schlock into cult gold. Kansas-born Cassandra Peterson danced in Vegas revues before LA's KHJ-TV hired her to host Movie Macabre. She concocted Elvira. Valley Girl diction meets Morticia Adams' wardrobe. Double entendres delivered with winked eyelash glee. Merch exploded. Comic books, pinball machines, even beer commercials, proving niche horror plus 38-inch cleavage equals mainstream brand. Yet Peterson guards creative control, penning scripts and winning a lawsuit against a rival, Mistress of the Night. At conventions, she greets 3 generations who know camp isn't low art. It's an inclusive party. Elvira also came out publicly in 2021, redefining expectations again. Turns out a latex gown can house limitless reinvention. Betty Brosmer, 38 inches before influencers tracked waist-to-hip ratios, Betty Brosmer's 38, 23, 36 measurements set the bar. The California teen modeled sportswear, landing over 200 magazine covers in the 1950s, making her the highest-paid pinup of the era. Yet Brosmer valued health more than cheesecake. She married bodybuilder Joe Weider and co-founded Shape magazine, writing columns on nutrition and strength training when few women lifted weights. Her bust line never kept her from deadlifting. In fact, she argued muscle-preserved curves. Today, septuagenarian Betty still promotes fitness. Proof a 38-inch bust, and iron will can inspire women to own both glamour and grit. Jane Russell, 38 inches Howard Hughes, built a special cantilevered bra, never used, for Jane Russell's 38-inch assets, launching a publicity storm before the outlaw even opened. Censors balked, but audiences queued once they glimpsed stills. Russell, however, was more than a sultry pose. In Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, she matched Marilyn Monroe joke for joke. Post-film career, she adopted 3 children and launched the World Adoption International Fund, reflecting devout faith seldom discussed by gossip rags. She later pitched Playtex bras on TV, humorously acknowledging the body that launched her. Jane Russell Peaks in Alaska carry her name. Mountains befitting a woman whose curves became part of American topography. Jane Mansfield, 40 inches with a 40-inch bust and a pink-on-pink aesthetic, Jane Mansfield engineered her own fame. Records show she spoke 5 languages, played violin, and boasted a 163 IQ. Facts she wielded cheekily to counter dumb blonde labels. Films like The Girl Can't Help It broadcast her comedic timing, while press stunts, wardrobe malfunctions accidentally, on purpose, kept flashbulbs popping. She toured Playboy clubs, recorded novelty songs, and christened her pink Hollywood mansion the Pink Palace. Tragedy struck in 1967, when a car crash claimed her life at 34. Yet Mansfield's bold self-marketing blueprint paved the way for Madonna and beyond. And yes, her 40-inch profile still appears on vintage lunchboxes, proof shock value ages into kitsch legend. Anita Ekberg, 40 inches. Anita Ekberg's 40-inch bombshell figure went from Miss Sweden crown to Rome's Trevi Fountain, where Federico Fellini's La Dolce Vita froze cinematic time. While Hollywood tried to marry her off, Howard Hughes reportedly proposed, Europe offered meteor roles that celebrated her statuesque presence without apology. She starred in nearly 50 films, from war and peace to spaghetti westerns, embracing cosmopolitan life. Later years were bittersweet. A leg fracture, house fire, and robbery left her in financial straits, yet she refused self-pity, quipping the fountain scene guaranteed her immortality. Empire magazine placed her among history's sexiest stars, but Ekberg's self-assessment cuts deeper. I was not born to be a symbol. I was born to be myself. And that self, 40 inches of Nordic majesty draped in black gown, still wades through cinephile dreams, forever summoning midnight fountains and dolce nights. Which of these legendary stars surprised you the most? Did you learn something new about your favorite Golden Age icon? Or discover a brand new favorite? Let us know in the comments, hit that subscribe button, and stay tuned for more deep dives into Hollywood history.